In this unit, I'm going to show you how to register your new business with the Secretary of State's office. I'm also going to show you how to get an employment identification number. If there's any financing at your dealership, then we're going to need to get a license with the Office of Consumer Credit Commission. I'm going to show you how to charge motor vehicle sales tax. I'm going to show you how to file your annual motor vehicle inventory declaration and your monthly vehicle inventory tax statement. I'm going to show you how to prepay your inventory taxes due. We're going to go over your unit property tax factor, and I'm going to talk about what can be the very profitable vehicle appraisals by licensed dealers. First, registering your dealership with the Texas Secretary of State and designating a registered agent. Many businesses in the state of Texas must register with the Texas Secretary of State's office. Sole proprietors and general partnerships do not need to register with the Texas Secretary of State. As a business owner in the state, you will need also to register what's known as a registered agent. The following are the most common types of business entities in Texas. A corporation. A Texas corporation is created by filing a certificate of formation with the Texas Secretary of State, and you can file those documents by mail or through SOS Direct, which we're going to cover here in just a few moments. A corporation is made up of shareholders and directors. Maybe you're filing as a limited liability company, which is often referred to as an LLC. A Texas limited liability company is created by filing a certificate of formation with the Secretary of State. Any person on an LLC is referred to as a member, and an LLC may have one member or multiple members. If filing as an LLC, you're going to need to decide whether the LLC will be managed by a manager, which is referred to as a manager-managed LLC, or an LLC that will be managed by a member, which is referred to as a member-managed LLC. An LLC has some reduced liabilities for members, but you should always seek legal advice when deciding on how to structure your dealership's business entity. You can file your LLC documents by mail or online through SOS Direct. Like I said, I'll show you that here in just a minute. You could also file as a limited partnership. Sometimes we call that an LP. A Texas limited partnership is a partnership formed by two or more persons and having one or more general partners and one or more limited partners. So this is more of a technical business entity, and you will need to have a written agreement to operate in accordance with Texas state law. You can file your limited partnership documents by mail or online through SOS Direct, which I'll show you here in just a moment. Maybe you're operating as a limited liability partnership. Sometimes we refer to that as an LLP. In order to limit the liability of its general partners, a general or limited partnership may opt to register as a limited liability partnership, and you may file that through SOS Direct. I'll show you that as well. If you're opening your dealership as a sole proprietor or general partnership, then you're going to need to register your DBA, that's what you're doing business as, or an assumed name certificate where the county of the business is located. I want to repeat that. If you're opening your dealership as a sole proprietor or a general partnership, you're going to need to register your DBA or your assumed name certificate with the county where your dealership is located. A sole proprietorship is a single person operating a business without any type of formal business organization. If a person names the sole proprietor the same name as their proper name, then they don't need to file an assumed name. But if a person names the sole proprietor a different name than their proper name, then they do need assumed name. So if you're just calling your dealership Sarah Doe and you're a sole proprietor, I mean, that's your real name. But if you're Sarah Doe Motors, then you certainly need to file that assumed name certificate, which sometimes we call, a DBA. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay. But if the business is assumed under an assumed name, that's a name other than the name of the individual, then you've got to file with the clerk, okay? And an assumed name certificate should be filed in all counties where the business is conducted under the assumed name, such as all supplemental dealership locations in separate counties. A general partnership is a business organization when two or more persons start a business for profit, and if the partnership is conducted under an assumed name, and that's a name other than the proper name of the individual, then an assumed name certificate must be filed in the office of the county clerk where the county is being conducted. So also, you would need to do that in all separate counties under supplemental dealership locations as well as a general partnership. So, you're going to need a new dealer license when you switch certain business registration categories. So, a sole proprietor can't change to a general partnership and vice versa. And, a sole proprietor, can't change to an LLC unless you get a new license. So I want you to be very aware. If you ever change certain business entities, like you go from a sole proprietor to an LLC, or maybe you downgrade from a limited partnership down to a sole proprietor, you will have to reapply for your dealer's license, okay? Now, and I will show you this here. The Secretary of State's website, once you have determined what type of business entity that you are going to organize your dealership, we're going to need to file this with the Secretary of State's office if we are a corporation and not a sole proprietor or that general partnership. Excuse me. And the Texas Secretary of State website you see right there is sos.texas.gov. You can also send an email to the Secretary of State's office, and this is the business and commercial section, and that's going to be corpinfo@sos.texas.gov. Once again, that's corpinfo@sos.texas.gov. Or you can easily call their phone number. Very helpful resource for you is the phone number you see right there on the screen. It's 512-463-5555. And I want you to be aware that neither the Automobile Dealer Training Association nor the Secretary of State's office may advise you on what type of business entity to form. So we can't give you legal advice. It is best for you to consult with an attorney who can properly advise you. So I strongly encourage you to get some legal advice before you file your mandatory paperwork with the Secretary of State if you're a corporation. Texas registered agents. You need to be aware of this as well. The Texas Business Organizations Code requires every domestic or foreign filing entity. And by the way, a domestic entity is someone headquartered in the state of Texas. A foreign filing entity would be someone who has their corporation outside the state of Texas but's operating in the state of Texas. You're required to maintain what's called a registered agent and office in the state of Texas. A domestic filing entity and a foreign filing entity registered to do business in Texas are required to continuously maintain a registered agent and a registered office address in the state of Texas. Any entity's registered office must be a physical address in the state of Texas where the registered agent can be served with process during business hours. The registered office is also where the Office of Secretary of State will mail official correspondence. A registered office is the business office address of the registered agent and may be the same as the entity's place of business, such as your dealership. It cannot, however, be a post office box that is part of a commercial mail system or a messaging center as well. So the registered agent must be an individual resident of Texas or an organization other than the organization to be representative that is representative to do business in Texas. For example, I want to explain this to you here. An LLC may not act as the LLC's registered agent, but an owner, officer, or partner of the LLC may act as a registered agent. So I want to explain that again. An LLC may not act as the LLC's registered agent, but an owner, officer, or partner of the LLC may act as the registered agent. The registered office address must be located at the street address where the service of process may be personally served on the entity's registered agent during normal business hours. So, you can view more information on registered agents. It's at the Secretary of State website. Just look up corporate forms. So if you are acting as your own registered agent, you will need to complete what's called Registered Agent Form 401, and you can store it in your records. And you can easily find that form if you go to Google and type in Texas Registered Agent Form 401, and you can easily file that. Very easy to do. But you must determine your registered agent before filing your business entity with the Secretary of State. Registered agent information must be submitted with your Secretary of State business filings if applicable. Okay, so you want to get your register. If you are a corporation and you're filing your paperwork with the Secretary of State, which I'm going to show you here in just a moment, make sure and have your registered agent, and then we will file our paperwork with the Texas Secretary of State. I want you to be aware there are 3 very easy ways to register your new business with the Secretary of State's office. You can file online using SOS Direct, which I'm going to show you here just in a moment. You can also fax your documents to the Secretary of State, or you can mail your documents to the Secretary of State. So I want you also to be aware that all owners and members of businesses that are required to file with the Texas Secretary of State office must also be listed in the owner and management section of the application. And the business status must remain active and in good standing with the Texas Secretary of State's office during the entire time that the dealer is licensed. So you can't get your dealer's license and then, delete your Secretary of State filings. If you have a dealer's license and just say you are a corporation, then you need to make sure that you always have your paperwork on file with the Secretary of State's office. But I want to show you a very easy way to do it here. I want to show you how to fill out your paperwork with the Secretary of State's office using the very easy to use Secretary of State SOS Direct. So, this website here, the Texas Secretary of State has a very business-friendly website, makes it extremely easy to start a business in the state of Texas and file your appropriate paperwork. So here you see, it's called the Business Services page of the Secretary of State's website. This website is extremely helpful when you're starting a new business. You can view business basics, helpful startup information, great for any business that you're starting, view business forms, filing options, and much, much more. Very, very business friendly. But as I stated a moment ago, there's 3 easy ways you can file with the Secretary of State. You can do it right through the Secretary of State's SOS Direct website, which I'm going to show you here in just a moment. If you want to, you can mail your documents to the Secretary of State, as I said, and you can even overnight those if you want to. But before we get started here, I want you to be aware the filing fee is going to be $750 no matter how you submit your documents to the Secretary of State. If you're going to file online, which I'm getting ready to show you here, you will have a convenience fee added, and that's going to be usually about 2.75%. You may do most formation documents through the SOS Direct filing system, and when you file documents online, you're going to have to provide your credit card information a couple of times, or at least, have enough funds in your credit card, checking account, whatever you're using to pay for the filing. The system does not keep credit card information on file for security purposes, but you're also going to need to have Acrobat Reader on your computer and Windows Zip. Okay, so you might have to unzip some documents here in a little bit. But next, we're going to learn how to file our documents with the SOS system online. And for this example, we're going to file as an LLC. And this is just only to be used as an example for this demonstration purpose, for this training scenario. I always want to recommend you seek legal advice when deciding how to structure your business entity of your dealership. But for this example, we are going to file as an LLC, okay? So we're going to click on SOS Direct that you see right up there at the very top of your screen. And remember, this website's sos.state.tx.us. And we're going to need to click on the Enter Site button. And I want you to be advised, you're going to be charged $1 just to get into the website. They want to make sure, like I said, no internet robots are, going in here and filing businesses that don't exist or something like that. So you're going to need to create what's called an SOS Direct account. So you're going to need to click on Request for SOS Direct Account link near the bottom of the page that you see right there. And you're going to need to enter your business name or your first and last name, not both, okay? You'll either enter your business name or your first and last name. Then you're going to click Continue. You're going to enter your address, phone number, email address. Then you're going to create a new password, and you will have to confirm your password. Now, be sure to store that password for future reference. Okay, make sure to store all your usernames and passwords so you can refer to those later on. You're going to click Continue. And now you're going to need to enter your credit card information. And as I said, your credit card will be charged $1 processing fee that basically allows you into the SOS Direct system. So now you're going to be emailed an SOS Direct user ID. So this is what you must use to log on to the SOS account. Okay, so enter your SOS Direct user ID and the password that you created just a few moments ago. Then you're going to click the Submit button there. And now you're going to have to re-enter your contact information. Okay, so there's several verification steps here to make sure that you are not some, like I said, internet robot that is accessing this system. So you are going to be required to enter your credit card information a second time here. And this is going to be used to pay for any official filing. So we were charged that $1 to access the SOS Direct, and now we're entering this a second time, and this will pay for any type of filings that we do here in just a few moments, okay? Now, you're going to click on Business Organizations at the top left of the screen to begin filing your required paperwork with the Secretary of State. So you're going to click on Business Organizations, and now that you have officially logged in, you may select from several choices on the screen here, okay? So what we're going to do, though, we're going to scroll down, and from the Reservation Formation Registration Documents menu, you're going to choose the business entity from the drop-down box. Okay, so make sure and choose your business entity. As I said, for this example, we're going to file as a domestic limited liability company. That would be an LLC that is actually headquartered and located in the state of Texas. This is only to be used as an example. Like I said, be sure to seek legal advice before deciding on a business entity. So you're going to select your business entity. Then you're going to click on the File Document button that you see there. Now you're going to enter your filing type. Okay, so as we said, we did the certificate of formation, and then you're going to click that Continue button right there after you click Certificate of Formation. Now you are going to enter the name of your dealership, and you're going to click on the name availability search, okay? So if you're filing as an LLC, LP, or LLP, you must have the letters LLP, LP, or LLC in your business name. So I want to repeat that. As we're filing this officially, if you are an LLC, LP, or LLP, then you must have LLC, LP, or LLP in your business name. Hey, I did that. I can't believe I said that. If the name is available, you're going to be able to click on the Continue box to reserve that name. So, as I want you to be aware of here, you can search several names here if you want to, and it will tell you if that business name is available. And if it is, then you can go ahead and click the Continue box, okay? The next thing we're going to need to do is enter your Texas registered agent information, as I discussed a little bit ago here. So make sure and enter your Texas registered agent there along with their address. You're going to click the Continue box. Now you're going to enter your owner information on the Add Manager box there and the governing authority. So make sure that you're doing this correctly. Make sure the governing authority is there. And for this management type, let's just say, for example, this is an LLC that is going to be managed by members. Okay, so you can certainly edit that information right there. So if you're an LLC, you're either managed by the members or the management. Okay, so you can also upload any provisional information here that you choose, okay? But the first thing we need to do is enter the organizer of the LLC, and this will be that managing partner. If you are the only person on the LLC, then you will enter your name. If you have multiple managers, then make sure that this is the manager, okay? So if it's just you, then you would just check your name there and make sure that address is correct. Now, you're going to enter the signature and the delayed starting date of the LLC, which must be at least 1 day later than the date that you are filing. Okay, and I want to repeat that. When you're filing, your delayed date must be at least 1 day later than the date that you're filing. So your delay date may not be the same date that you're filing through this system. So it has to be at least tomorrow or following. Okay, so you're going to click the effective delayed date there, and you're going to click that Continue box right there. And now what you're going to see is an overview of the document that you are ready to submit to the Texas Secretary of State's office. So be sure to review this document very carefully, as it is legally binding. Make sure all information is true and correct. When you are sure the document is true and correct, you will click on the very bottom where it says Submit Filing. Right there, at the very top left there. You're going to click on where it says Submit Filing, and you will submit this filing document to the Secretary of State. Now, I want you to be aware, the fee that you see may be different than what is shown right here on your screen. So the fees are based on the type of business entity that you are filing. So if you're filing a corporation, that's going to be a different fee than an LLP, and that's going to be a different fee than an LLC, okay? So the fee that you submit, that you see at the top left there, the number, the dollar amount could be different. If there is a problem with your documentation, a representative from the Secretary of State's office will contact you via email to help correct your mistake. So if it's not submitted correctly, you will receive an email from the Secretary of State's office. If there are mistakes, you may not amend a business filing. You will have to start over from the beginning. I want to repeat that. If there's a mistake with your application, a representative from the Secretary of State's office will contact you. You cannot amend this filing when you're starting it out and doing the initial formation. You'll have to start over. You're not going to be charged additionally, but you will have to start over. So if there is a mistake, like I said, your credit card will not be charged until that issue is resolved. So if you submit your filing correctly, your credit card will be charged immediately, and then you're going to receive a notification of your filing within 48 hours of the SOS Direct application. So the verification that you're normally going to receive will have 3 documents, okay? You're going to have your Secretary of State acknowledgement, your Secretary of State certificate, and your Secretary of State original document. So you want to make sure and store all those files. So like I said, within 48 hours, you'll receive 3 verification documents. You'll get your Secretary of State acknowledgement, your Secretary of State certificate, and your Secretary of State original document. So you certainly want to make several copies of these, make a backup records stored on your computer as well. If you have not received an email verifying your filing within 48 hours, you should definitely contact the Texas Secretary of State's Business and Commercial section. And once again, that email is corpinfo@sos.texas.gov. Or you can call them directly, 512-463-5555. Once again, that's 512-463-5555. If you ever close your dealership, you've got to terminate your business entity. Okay, I hope you never do that, but if you do decide maybe this business is not for you, I don't think you're going to do that, hopefully. But if you do decide to close your dealership, not only do we have to close our Texas registered entity, you need to close your business entity as well. And, worst case scenario, if let's say, for example, maybe you forgot to dissolve your corporation after you've closed your dealership, you could get penalties for not paying taxes on that. So if you do decide to close this dealership and cease operations, make sure not only to close your Texas registered business entity, but terminate any type of business filings with the Secretary of State. Okay. Now, your document will normally be processed within 24 hours. Okay. And the outcome of the processing, and that's, either the evidence of filing or a rejection letter, will be emailed to you. Okay. So they're going to send you 2 emails to the email that are on the account. So the first is what's called a packing slip. So you want to make sure and check your spam or trash folder just in case that went in there and you didn't get it in your inbox. And then the second email is going to be the notice that your document was accepted or rejected. And this email will contain a link that you will click on to retrieve the document. So once again, if you ever cease the operation of your dealership, you must properly dissolve your business with the Texas Secretary of State, or you could face future tax liabilities. And once again, I want to remind you, it is imperative that you seek legal advice when setting up the business entity classification for your dealership. Let's talk about your employment identification number. This is our EIN. Before you apply for your Texas used motor vehicle dealer's license, you may need to apply for an employment identification number, which we sometimes refer to as an EIN. And this is the number the Internal Revenue Service uses to identify your business for tax purposes. You can apply for your EIN for free at irs.gov, or you can call 800-829-4933. When you obtain your EIN, you're going to need to record that in a safe place. You're going to be required to enter this in your initial dealer application that we do online. And you also are going to have that EIN when we're filing our federal taxes. I want you to also be aware that sole proprietors that do not have employees can use your Social Security number, and you wouldn't have to file for an employment identification number. So sole proprietors that do not have employees can use your Social Security number and do not have to file for an employment identification number. But if you're a sole proprietor with employees, you will need to have an employment identification number. Okay, so you can start this process at irs.gov. So you can go there, and what we're going to do, I'm going to show you here, is very, very, very easy to do. Okay, we're going to jump on here, and we're going to go down here, and we're going to click on Begin Application. Okay, and you're going to need to select your legal business entity. So for this training scenario, once again, we're going to be filing as a limited liability company, which is an LLC. And once again, this is just for demonstration purposes only. Be sure to seek legal advice before deciding what type of business entity that you want to be forming. But you're going to click begin. I'm sorry, for this scenario, we're going to click LLC, okay? And then we're going to click the continue box there. And you're going to need to select how many members are on your business, okay? And for this example, we'll say that there's one member and we are filing in the state of Texas. So you would check Texas from the drop-down box there. And Texas is what's called a community property state. So you will need to select whether or not any members are husband and wife. So answer that question right there. You will then be asked why you are filing. Well, normally we are starting a new business. That's normally, or, maybe if you've hired new employees as a sole proprietor or something like that, or if your bank tells you you need an EIN, then you can certainly do that. But most of you that are doing this are going to be selecting that we are starting a new business. So the first thing you'll do is enter the name and social security number and whether or not you are one of the owners. Okay, so you'll make sure that information is correct. Then you're going to enter the address and the phone number of the dealership. And also, they will give you the opportunity if you want to have a mail forwarding address, but if you do have any correspondence sent from the IRS and you want it to be sent to your dealership address, then you will just have your dealership address there. Then we're finally going to enter the legal name, what you might be doing business as, the county where the dealership is located, and the state where the dealership is located. And that's got to be Texas, obviously. And then your home state. So you'll select Texas if you live in Texas, or your home state if you live in another state. And then you're going to select your start date, okay, which is going to be pretty quick here probably. Now you're going to select how you would like to receive your EIN number. For the quickest way, you should select receive letter online. And so if you got a PDF reader, you'll be able to download that immediately. But if you choose to receive your EIN by mail, as it says right there, that can take up to 4 weeks. So that can substantially delay your dealer application process because you got to have that. Most of us have to have that employment number before we apply. But you probably have a PDF reader. If you don't, there's a little box right there where you can download the Adobe PDF reader and you can print up your new employment number right there on the spot. But see how easy that was? It was pretty easy. Just a few clicks of the mouse there. If you have any questions about your employment identification number, you can call the IRS directly at 800-829-4933. And be sure to record that employment identification number in a safe place, as is required for most of us to get our dealer's license if you're not a sole proprietor. And it will be used on your business tax returns every year. Okay, so you definitely need to make sure that you have that. Next, I want to talk about registering with the Texas Office of Consumer Credit Commission. Dealers that are going to be involved in any type of financing, whether that is a buy here, pay here, or third-party financing, must be registered with the Office of Consumer Credit Commission. So I want to repeat that. If you're going to be a buy here, pay here dealer, or if you're even using maybe some type of third-party lender that's doing the loans for you, if you are basically brokering financing in your dealership, then state law requires that you register with the Office of Consumer Credit Commission. So, and by the way, there's our contact information. I'll give you this first. The Office of Consumer Credit Commission can be called at 512-936-7600. They've even got a toll-free 800 number, 800-539-1579. And you'll be able to find their website at occ.state.tx.us to obtain the required finance license. Okay, now their website address there that you see, occ.state.tx.us. We're going to jump on here. And the first thing that we would need to do if we're going to be involved in financing, and I think a very large portion of us probably will. I mean, you can certainly tell your customers to bring in cash. There are some dealers that do this, okay, but studies have shown that a very large portion of the persons that are trying to buy a vehicle from you on your dealership are going to need help financing. So if you're helping them, the first thing we're going to do is create a username and password, and we're also going to create security questions and ensure that you are the credible user. So only one username can be created per account, okay? And if you have any questions whatsoever, about financing, there's a great phone number again for you there. It's 512-936-7600, or you can email them at licensing@occ.state.tx.us. And once again, that website address is occ.state.tx.us. Did you get all that? That is going to be all in that manual that you downloaded at the beginning of the training course. So make sure if you're brokering, if you're helping financing vehicles, or if you're a buy here, pay here dealership, state law does require that you file with the Office of Consumer Credit Commission.